Welcome back to Out of the Rough. I'm Fred Arnold, and I'm joined by Heather Glick-Atalla, an attorney with Marshall A. Glick, a professional corporation. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
We're going to talk about something that's very important here in the Santa Clarita Valley, but of course all throughout Southern California, and that is nonprofit law. I always believe that you need to help others in the community, and nonprofits do a great job doing that, don't they?
Yes, they certainly do.
Yeah, and so let's talk about, you want to be you're a nonprofit and you want to get that tax-exempt status. How do you do that?
Sure. Well, the way to form a nonprofit is there's a couple different entities. You could be an unincorporated association, you could be a trust, or you can be a corporation. Now, just like for-profit corporations, nonprofit corporations do offer some protection to the officers and directors. So that's why most choose to form a corporation. From there, once you're a nonprofit corporation, the common misconception is, oh, you're a nonprofit, you're exempt. Well, you actually have to apply for tax-exempt status, both on the federal level with the IRS, and then on the state level as well with the Franchise Tax Board.
So you got to tackle it in two spots.
Exactly.
And if there's a government shutdown, it could take longer.
Well, actually right now, Fred, there is a 1-year backlog at the IRS.
Wow.
Before they will even assign applications to an agent for review. There is 65,000 applications that are just sitting there waiting. And unless you can get expedited processing for your application, you're going to be waiting at least a year.
And the one thing that's comforting about that is there's a lot of people out there that are starting nonprofits for the right reason. To serve our underserved, or to serve those that have a special need for one thing or another.
It is worth the wait. And also, once the IRS finally comes around, reviews your application, hopefully it approves it, the effective date of tax-exempt status is retroactive back to when you filed your articles of incorporation.
Perfect. So you can
start
take advantage
fundraising.
of that. Let's talk about pitfalls.
Yes. So nonprofits have to be run for the benefit of the public and the purposes that they were formed for. And the way that they oftentimes run into trouble is with governance issues. They are not being run by boards of directors, or there is inurement of the officers or key employees. Inurement is undue or unjust benefit. So there's insider transactions, somebody's getting compensated too much.
Excessive pay, excessive this or that.
Exactly. And the way to prevent that is by having governance policies and procedures in writing from the start of the organization. If they have these procedures in place and then they can start to follow them, then hopefully a conflict won't arise to the level of an investigation by, for example, the Attorney General here in California, who regulates charities in this state.
And if you are investigated and you have the rules and procedure and the governance policies and the minutes, you're gonna be much better off, and you're gonna
far better off. Right. That's exactly why we do that.
Let's talk about one last thing.
Sure.
Unrelated business income.
Yes.
Because let's say you have a lot of members, or you have a lot of those that you serve like you're supposed to serve, yes, but you see opportunity to drive revenue over here. How does that work?
Exactly. So oftentimes charities will generate revenue from business activities. For example, a museum can open up a gift shop and sell bubble gum. Well, that's not really related to the museum's purposes. Mm-hmm. So that is considered to be taxable income to the charities. So mm-hmm, not all charities are completely tax exempt. And the revenue is taxable if the activity is a regular, ongoing business activity that is not substantially related to their exempt purposes. Now, there's nothing wrong with having taxable income, and it's better to have $1 in your pocket that's taxed than no dollar at all. Mm-hmm. But where charities can run into trouble is too much taxable income relative to how much revenue they're receiving from donations.
And what they're trying to drive here.
Exactly.
Yes. Well, great advice. Thanks for coming in. I know you're a fellow Provisor.
I am,
along
yes.
with me, yeah.
Yes.
The Network Group Provisors.
Wonderful group.
Yes, thank you. Heather, how can those that want to reach out to you, because you have a wealth of information.
Thank you.
How can they get you?
So my telephone number is 818-345-2223. And they can also reach me by email, which is hglick@glicklaw.com.
Yep. And your father Marshall Glick
We do
established the
practice
firm.
law together.
Yeah,
Yep,
yeah.
he's been practicing law for 45 years, and it's a joy to work together. It really
Great.
is.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks
We'll
again
get
for
that
having
information
me.
out to everybody so nobody runs into those challenges.
Wonderful. Thanks,
Great.
Fred.
Ladies and gentlemen, Heather Glick-Atalla, attorney with Marshall A. Glick, a professional corporation. We're going to jump to a quick break, and we'll be right back.